Hello students. So today we are here with the next chapter of class 9, that is matter around us pure? So in the first chapter we have read about the matter, the states of matter, the different phenomenon related to the matter, and here we are with the term is matter around us pure or not? The chapter is itself a question, right? We have to find out the answer of this question throughout our chapter. So let's understand first the classification of the matter. This section is actually given at the end of your chapter, but this is very important to understand prior so that you can understand the other things related to it. So how we can classify the matter? So matters are broadly classified into two categories, pure and impure. So pure, what are the pure matters? Pure matters are those substances whose particles are of same kind or which exhibit same and definite set of properties throughout its bulk. So, if the particles, different particles when add together they form the matter, that we already know. So, if the particles are of same kind, then that is termed as pure substances. Now this pure substances is further classified into two categories. First is elements, other is compounds. Okay, so pure substances are of two types, elements and compounds, that we study further. The next classification is impure matter, impure substances. Now the impure substances are called as actually the mixtures. Obviously, if the pure substances has the definition, or we can say the properties that its constituent particles are of same kind, obviously the impure substances has property that its constituent particles are not of same kind. Okay, they are having different kinds of particles in it, and all the particles exhibit different properties. So they are just opposite to that of the pure substances. So if you mix two substances in any proportion, that can give rise to the mixtures. So these mixtures are of two types, homogeneous and heterogeneous. So we study about these two terms also, homogeneous and heterogeneous mixture. Now let's start with the first term of the pure substances, that is elements. Okay, so let's start then with the definition of the element. What are elements? So, an element is a pure substance. Just now we have seen it in our classification that it is a pure substance. So, an element is a pure substances which cannot be broken down into more simpler unit by any physical methods. So elements are the pure substances which are, obviously it is made up of same kind of particles. Here we can use the term atom also. So elements are those substances, those pure substances which are made up of same kind of atom, or we can say same kind of particle which cannot be broken into more simpler unit by any physical method. So this is just the definition of the element. So when we are moving towards the characteristic of element, we are having the first characteristic that it is a pure substance. Then it is composed of only one kind of atom. Then they have fixed melting point, boiling point and other physical characteristic. Next is it can exist as solid, liquid or gas at room temperature. Some elements can be solid, some elements can be liquid, some elements can be gases. Here we are having the examples of element H2, O2, N2, Ag, etc. So elements are those substances, those pure substances which cannot be broken into simpler unit. As for example, if we are having hydrogen, if you want to break the hydrogen, after breaking that hydrogen, we are having one particle which is actually the hydrogen. It cannot get converted into the other substances, other simpler substances. When we break it with any chemical method, then also it will break into the hydrogen atoms. So the elements are those substances which cannot be broken into simpler unit by physical method. But when we apply some chemical method, we can break it, but since it is made up of same type of atom, we'll find the same material, same thing. So when we break the hydrogen, we'll get the hydrogen atom. When we break the oxygen, we'll have the oxygen atom. Okay, so since elements are made up of same kind of particle, that's why it's all physical property, its melting point, its boiling point, all are fixed. There is a fixed boiling point of hydrogen, there is a fixed boiling point or melting point of other metals or non-metals, or we can say the other things. Okay, now moving towards the classification of the elements, we can have the classification as elements are classified into 4 categories. First is metals, second is non-metals, third is metalloid, and next one is noble gases, or we can say inert gases. Metals and non-metals, already you know, you have studied it in class 9 and class 8. Metals are the substances which are hard in nature, which have malleability, which have ductility, lustrous property. Non-metals are just opposite to that of the metals. Then metalloids are those elements having the characteristic of both metals as well as non-metals. So there are 5 or 6 metalloids are there. And the last one is noble gases. Noble gases are actually those elements, or we can say inert also, inert gases. Those gases or those elements which are non-reactive in nature. Why it is non-reactive, why they are termed as noble or inert gas, that we'll study in the next chapter. So here you just have to remember this element is classified into 4 categories: metals, non-metals, metalloids, and noble or inert gases. Now, the next pure substances which we are having is compound. Now, what are these compounds? So, this is the definition of compound. When 2 or more elements combine together in definite proportion by mass, then it is called as compound. Now, elements, just now we dealt with the term elements. Now, when the 2 or more elements combine together in a definite proportion by mass, then it is called as compounds. So, if we mix 2 or more elements, then why it is termed as a pure substances? The answer of this question is, whenever we add 2 or more elements, the proportion is fixed. The proportion is definite. That's why this is considered as a pure substance. Now, you can understand it with the help of one of the example. Since water is a compound which is made up of 2 elements, hydrogen and oxygen. So why this water is considered as a compound? Because this hydrogen and oxygen always combine in a fixed ratio, that is 1:8. Now, from where this ratio came? So for that you have to understand about the atomic mass. That also you will understand in the next chapter which we are having in class 9. Here you just do remember the atomic mass of hydrogen is 1. Since we are having 2 hydrogen, the atomic mass is 2. The atomic mass of oxygen is 16. So if we find out the ratio of this hydrogen and oxygen, we'll get 1:8. Now this ratio is fixed. It doesn't depend on the source from where water is taken. From whatever the source we have taken, from the pond, whether it is saline water from the ocean, or the Kent water, or the purified water, or the distilled water, always we are having the same proportion by mass, that is 1:8. So compounds are those substances, those pure substances which are made up of 2 or more than 2 elements, and they all the elements always combined in a fixed ratio. That you have to do remember. Whenever you are writing the definition of compound, you have to write this term definite proportion. So if 2 or more elements combine together in a definite proportion, then it is termed as compounds. Now all the properties of compounds are slightly different to that of the elements, like it doesn't exhibit the same physical properties, because we are having different kinds of atom here. It is not made up of same kind of atoms. So these the elements or compounds have that difference, that element is made up of same kind of particles, or we can say atoms, and compounds are made up of different types of elements. Now, since the pure substances is over now, so we are having the impure substances, which is actually termed as mixture. So what are these mixture? When two or more substances combine together in any proportion, then it is called as mixture. So what is different here? In the compounds we have written the definite proportion, but in the mixture we have written in any proportion. The proportion is not fixed. So when two or more substances combine together in any proportion, then it is called as mixture. As for example, if you are preparing शरबत, पानी लिया, चीनी लिया, it is not fixed कि आपने एक ग्लास पानी लिया तो हमेशा एक टेबलस्पून उसमें शुगर ऐड करेंगे. Okay, even the constituent are also not fixed. We can add lemon also, we can add some coloring agent also, we can add some salt also. That is up to your choice. So mixture are those substances which have neither the fixed substances nor the fixed proportion. Okay, there are various other characteristics of the mixture. Next is the component present in mixture do not react chemically. Whatever present in the mixture, they do not react chemically with each other. Otherwise, it will form some other type of compound or other substances. So this is one of the property of the mixtures, that all the constituent, all the components, they do not react chemically. Then the next is the physical properties like melting point, boiling point, or the other physical properties are not fixed. In the element, that these properties are fixed, but here in the mixture these properties are not fixed. Next is it is an impure matter, that you already know. And one of the properties, it cannot be separated by simple filtration method. We cannot separate these substances with simple filtration technique. Okay, so these are the characteristics of the mixture, and this is the definition of the mixture. Now moving towards the types of the mixture. Already you have seen it in the chart we have made in the starting of the session. These mixture are of two types. First is homogeneous, other is heterogeneous. So what is this homogeneous? Let's understand it first. Homo means same. So the mixtures whose concentration is same throughout the bulk is termed as homogeneous mixture. So what we can write? Concentration is same throughout the bulk. The very common example is sugar solution, salt solution, etc. So what is the meaning of this definition? The concentration is same throughout the bulk. You can easily understand it with the help of our experiment. Just take 1 glass of water, put some sugar in it and dissolve that sugar in that water. What you will feel? If you taste the water from the upper surface, the sweetness is whatever the sweetness you observe. Then you observe the sweetness from the middle of the solution. Then you take from the bottom of the container. You will feel the same sweetness throughout the bulk. You will feel the sweetness is same at the bottom, at the middle, and at the upper layer of the solution. But do remember, sugar will not left out at the bottom, of course. Okay. So आपने एक टम्बलर लिया, एक बीकर लिया, उसमें कुछ शुगर ऐड किया, वाटर ऐड किया, उसको अच्छी तरह से मिक्स किया. आपका शुगर नीचे बैठा नहीं रहना चाहिए, वहां नीचे जमा नहीं रहना चाहिए, पूरा डिसॉल्व हो गया. उसके बाद अगर आप उसको टेस्ट करते हो, आप अपर लेयर से टेस्ट करो, मिडिल से टेस्ट करो या फिर बॉटम से टेस्ट करो, जो स्वीटनेस है वो पूरे सॉल्यूशन में बराबर लगता है. दैट इज एक्चुअली द होमोजीनियस सब्सटेंस और होमोजीनियस मिक्सचर. मीन्स व्हाट? कॉन्सेंट्रेशन इज सेम. Sweetness or sourness or whatever the taste is or whatever the substance is, all the thing is same. One of the very common example of homogeneous mixture is alloy. Alloy are the mixture of different metals. So that is also homogeneous. We have never seen कि यहाँ पे टेन ज्यादा दिख रहा है, यहाँ कॉपर ज्यादा दिख रहा है. वो इक्विवेलेंट होता है, वो इक्वल होता है, सेम होता है पूरे बल्क में. तो होमोजीनियस मिक्सचर क्या हो जाएंगे? जिसका कॉन्सेंट्रेशन पूरे बल्क में सेम होगा. दैट इज एक्चुअली द homogeneous. Now what is this heterogeneous mixture? Hetero means different. So heterogeneous, just opposite to that of the homogeneous, means what? If the concentration is not same throughout the bulk, then it is called as heterogeneous mixture. Example is sand plus water. So take two beaker. In one beaker you dissolve some sugar in water. In the same quantity of water you add some sand in the other beaker. What you will observe? If the sugar dissolve in it completely, you can taste it. The sweetness is same throughout the bulk. But the container or the beaker which contains sand and water, उसको लेंगे तो क्या होगा? उसके अपर एक स्पून लो, उसके अपर लेयर से आप उठा के देखो सॉल्यूशन को, तो उसमें क्या मिलता है? वाटर कंटेंट ज्यादा मिलेगा, सैंड का कंटेंट, पार्टिकल्स कुछ पार्टिकल्स मिलेंगे. बट बॉटम से अगर हम लेंगे एक स्पून तो क्या होगा? सैंड का कंटेंट ज्यादा मिलेगा और वाटर स्लाइड होगा, वाटर काफी कम होगा. राइट? मीन्स व्हाट? उसका जो कॉन्सेंट्रेशन है सैंड का पूरे सॉल्यूशन में, पूरे मिक्सचर में इक्वल नहीं है. दैट इज एक्चुअली द हेट्रोजीनियस मिक्सचर. So the mixture are classified in two categories, homogeneous and heterogeneous. Homogeneous mixture are those mixtures in which the concentration is same throughout the bulk, and heterogeneous mixtures are those mixtures in which the concentration is not same throughout the bulk. The concentration is different to different parts of the mixture. So in this lecture we just read about the classification of matter, the classification of pure substances, the element of and the compounds, the classification of elements, and understand the concept of compounds, and ultimately at last we read about the impure substances, that is mixture, and the type of mixtures. So in the next class we'll read about the next topic of this chapter. That's all for this lecture. Thank you.